Good morning and welcome back to The Hustle. Today on the All American Hustle channel, we're going to work on something. It's not always about making money, and in the meantime, when you're not making money, you got to take care of your equipment. And my equipment is in need of some repairs. Got some upper ball joints that are going bad because the truck's lifted and big tires wear on things, and that's what happens. The truck in question is a 2013 F150 two-wheel drive. I've got it spaced and leveled in the front with a Beltec lift strut and a 1-inch spacer. Gives it about 2.5 inches. Looks nice, got 34s on it, runs good. Puts a weird strain on your upper ball joints. So I've come across a set of ball joints that a friend of mine had that he didn't put on his truck. Shout out to my buddy Jimmy Lee, always there for me when I need him. These are a ProTune Uniball upper ball joint. The factory upper ball joints are pretty much garbage, not user serviceable. Thin metal. They're not meant to handle what happens to this poor truck with these tires on it. And plus, this is what I tow everything with, what I tow my boat with, what I tow trailers with. So she's got a lot of miles on her, 160,000 miles on her, but she's running great. So let's look at the parts. All right, here's the truck in question. This is my 2013 F150, just an XLT. Got some moto metals on it, 34-inch Sumatumos, little lift. And the part in question is right inside here. Let's see if we can get a good picture of it. These guys. So these are the upper control arms, and those are the upper ball joints. And you'll see that mine are at a weird angle. They should be level, and they're not. My fault. I lifted the truck. You could tell my spring perch is down some because that's how I lifted it. Let's see if I can get a good shot in there. That's the Beltec quick struts. And those are the original factory 160,000 mile having upper control arms. Let's go look at the new ones for some comparison. These are a set of ProTune F150 upper control arms. These are considered a uniball because they do not run a ball joint. They run this instead with a large bolt. This set's about $380 online, shipped to your door. There's a million other sets out there right now. This body style truck is very popular. These come with Zerk greasable fittings at the top, which is a million times better than what's on the truck now. And a fully rebuildable, I don't know if you could see it in there because of the light out here, but there's a snap ring. These are fully rebuildable if you damage them. And just the size is slightly substantial compared to stock. Gusseted, tubular, oversized. We're going to lube these babies up and get them slipped into place today. And rotate the tires while we're at it because big tires wear funny and you just don't want to ruin an expensive tire. All right, here's the progress so far if you want to see what I'm up to. Got the center caps off. Got my beastly little DeWalt out. 2 6-ton jack stands. I realize that's complete overkill for an F-150, but would you rather have it sitting on some 2 tons or would you rather have it sitting on some 6 tons? I'm gonna go with the 6 tons. And if you ever want a good jack, this Norco Fast Jack is a beast. I mean, it's not cheap. Don't buy a cheap jack, especially if you're gonna be working on cars in the driveway like I do. You're asking for trouble. Buy a good floor jack. Harbor Freight's got some good ones. They run pretty good. They got a good warranty. This guy here came out of a storage unit, which is one of the hustles I'm a part of. And we decided to keep it because we like it so much. And then here we are, center caps off, breaker bar with my adapter. Because that DeWalt doesn't have quite enough nut to get these lug nuts off, but a little breaker bar handles business. None of these tools are crazy expensive. That's a Husky ratchet with a flexible head. It's my favorite. Cheap Taiwan socket. Works great for what I'm doing. You could buy Snap-on, Matco, and all that stuff if you wish, but, you know, not everybody has that budget or has that need. So you can get this job done, you know, installing these upper control arms in the driveway with some Home Depot tools. It's going to take me a couple hours because I'm not in a big hurry. I got some other things going on. So let's get this truck in the air and get to work. All right, now here's the first bolt we got to take out. It's a 13/16 or a metric equivalent. I've got a 13/16. Little backstory on the truck. It's been through a lot of iterations. It's been lifted, it's been lowered. This particular joint's been apart about 20 times. I have supported the lower control arm with a jack because there's a lot of pressure on this. And we're gonna try to back it out. I have a funny feeling that the whole ball joint is just going to spin, which is something that happens on these trucks. They get wore out and they start to spin. Let's see here. Nope, it did not spin. That's good news for us. Let's see if we can back her on out of here. Now, I'm not gonna back it all the way out. I'm gonna back it out till it's got a couple threads on it, and I'm gonna separate it. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. You can separate it with a separating tool. You can separate it with a pry bar. Separate it with an air hammer. You can do a lot of things. I'm not gonna do any of those things. I'm gonna hit it with a damn hammer because it works. So, little ball peen hammer action. Nothing spectacular to it. If you did not have the lower supported, this would have got real funny real fast. So we're gonna jack this up a little bit. About right there. Shouldn't be much strain on this nut now. Let's see. Oh, and there we go. Now she's turning. We kind of anticipated that. 10 millimeter. Husky tools from Home Depot or wherever I got them from. They work great. Nobody sponsored me, so I'm not too concerned about getting their names correct. Let's see here. Helps if you go the right direction. So I was told once by a professional. Still a little spring on this, so it could pop off of here, but it shouldn't be anything too crazy. It's well supported, so if it does pop, it won't pop far. Just want to make sure this thing doesn't fall over in my lap, because it is heavy. Getting close, getting close. Again, see, no pressure at all on this nut. We're gonna see if we can just work it the rest of the way out by hand. There it goes. She's out. She's separated. This thing weighs about 100 pounds, maybe a little better. So we're gonna throw the nut to the side. We're gonna push it up in here and it's gonna stay. That's your brake line. And now your upper separated. And you'll see this ball joint, she's not very stiff. 160,000 miles. It's kind of what I expected. You'll see that this the upper isn't too bad, but it's puny. So we're gonna put these big beefy ones on here and see what we can do. All right, let's get the top bolts out. All right, we're back at it. Going to use a 13/16 in here on this bolt. Now, this little shroud is sharper than it appears. Little mud guard, water guard, splash guard, whatever you want to call it. It's no fun. It's already got me in the hand a couple times, but it hasn't cut me yet. I'm gonna pull these bolts out.
Who are you talking to?
Well, we got that part out. Now to get the bolts out, I'm gonna have to move the whole strut tower assembly down so that the bolts will clear, because Ford has the bolts coming from the inside, so that, you know, if the nuts ever fell off, the bolts would definitely not fall out. That's probably a good idea. So what we got to do is get in here, get these three guys out down here, and then we're good. And we'll drop that down and we'll get the bolts out. Let's get it moving. All right, so took the three nuts out of the shock tower. Those were easy enough to do. Video would have been a little boring. That still didn't give us enough clearance. So I had to come down here, take the lower sway bar link off. That's an easy job as well. I used the The same two-sided wrench I've been using on everything, but this time that bolt's a 3/4. And it'll try to spin on you as well. But you can either lock onto this part or put a small ratchet on the top. It was a, I used an 8mm to hold it. Spun it off there, didn't take very long. And now you'll see, got all kinds of clearance in here to get that bolt out. So, let's get these bolts out, get the other bars off. We're gonna spray a little lithium on them so they slide in nice. And then we'll reverse the process, put everything back together. All right, let's go. And there she is. Oh, I'm upside down, don't mind me. There she is. You saw that little ring on top of my shock tower. That's a 1-inch spacer. Like I said, I did 1 inch on the top, inch and a half with the quick strut, and that gave me my 2.5 inches. I didn't go a full 3. I could have. Now that I'm installing this kit, I definitely could have. But the plan was not to wear the ball joints out prematurely. And now you can see the difference in the ball joints. Yeah, Ford, you could have did a little better on that. Just saying. All right, time to reverse it, put it back together. I'm gonna spray some lithium on these guys so they slide in correctly, and I'm gonna go ahead and lube them so that they're ready to go. All right, here we go. All right, so she's back in there. This is where this kit is greatly different from the original. No longer do we have this weak ball joint, we have this massive steel. I think they call it a uniball or a unijoint, and this giant bolt that goes through it. Pop this zip tie off of here. Trust your old pocket knife. If you don't have a pocket knife in your pocket, if you're a man who does not carry a pocket knife, start carrying the damn pocket knife. Seriously though. It's not a weapon, it's a tool. We'll talk about weapons in upcoming shows. So, we're gonna try to line all this back up. Keep in mind, I have not put the sway bar link back on. We're gonna put that back on in a minute. Now is not the time. So, got this massive monster here. This guy goes in there like that, points down in there, and I dropped it. Because why? I'm not a professional. I drop things, I break things, I do things incorrectly from time to time. That's just how I am. All right, 2 more zip ties. Now in lieu of zip ties, if you don't have zip ties or you don't own zip ties, you can wire tie this up and it'll be just fine. It'll work just the same. It's entirely up to you. Baling wire was in short supply this morning, so zip ties. Remember what I said, this thing is heavy. Try to keep it upright because you really don't want the full force of this trying to fall on your lap. We've done it, it's not fun. That's a video for another day. So we'll notice how much stiffer this is, which is an improvement, that's what we wanted. So let's put this little girl in there. All right, well, look at that. Went right in pretty handily. There's not a lot of pressure on anything right yet. I can actually come up some with the jack. Give me a little more swinging room. But in all honesty, I don't want to come up too high because the jack's doing what it's supposed to do. And I don't want to pick anything up off the jack stands, get ahead of myself. Now let's see if the original socket will fit. Yeah, it's close, but I got a funny feeling these guys here are metric. Let's check that out. Got a metric 22 sitting here. That should get the job done. That metric 22, that's the one. So we're gonna snug everything down. I do not have the right size wrench to hold the top of this. It's not gonna have a ton of pressure on it. So we're just gonna put a monkey wrench on it. I'm sure I could go dig in my toolbox for a while and find another 22, but I just don't see a reason for that. So let's just tighten this thing down. There's not gonna be a lot of pressure on this. So ye old crescent wrench will work fine. This is not the most convenient place to put this, but we're gonna get there. Oh, now the teeth are starting to bite. So this got a nylock on the bottom. Most of y'all know what a nylock is, some of you won't. A nylock has a nylon locking ring so that when threads come out the bottom, it grabs that nylon, and she ain't gonna come out again without a lot of force. She's not gonna vibrate off. And if you wonder why I put it in this way, well, if the nut ever did fail, the weight of the truck's gonna be holding this up into here, and we should not have a problem. If I put it the other way and the nut failed, vibration would cause the bolt to fall out the bottom. Eventually, this would separate when I hit a bump. This will go the way it wants to. Wheel goes into the fender. I get some really awesome arch and camber, and I generally destroy some shit. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the truck run forever, because buying new trucks is expensive. They're pretty, they're awesome, and if you got one, good on you. I don't like $600 car payments. All right, there she goes. And that's it. We're gonna put the tire back on. Seems like a significant improvement over stock. Looks like things are lined up a little better. We'll know when we get the full load on it. Same thing on the other side, so I'm not gonna repeat the process. This can be done in your driveway, at home, with some tools. And it's only taken me probably an hour, and that's me being off and on. And I've also rotated the tires while I was at it, because it's no big deal. I've already got the front on a jack stand, so I just jacked the rear up, rolled the front tire back there, bolted it on. Impact guns make life easy. So if you like this, you like other videos, you want to see more, stay tuned. We're going to do some more installs. There's a good chance I'm going to have a storage auction video for you guys coming up, because I'm winning a couple online right now, and we're going to go pick some up for the side hustle. Musical instruments and such. I prefer musical instruments, tools, and things like that. Thanks for viewing. Like and subscribe. Bye.